So call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is to vote to approve the minutes of February 18th, 2025. Those look good to me. Adam does a very great job. So move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay. Warrants. Accounts payable warrant in the amount of $107,843.72. Payroll warrant, $147,995.28. Payroll deduction, $36,290.91. Those are all pretty standard, so I move to approve the warrants.
I'll second. Those are really hard to read online. It's so much easier in person, but second.
Yeah, but they're fun. Meetings attended by select board members. Chris?
Well, we both were at the public forum for the streetlights. I don't believe I had another meeting outside of that.
Yeah, and that got a nice write-up in the recorder too. Thank you, recorder, for covering public business. I always love to see like the town represented in local media. Public comments? Anyone here for public comments? I don't think so. Unfinished business? I don't believe.
For tonight.
All right, so new business. Discuss and vote to sign the caucus warrant, request to put planning board vacancy on the ballot, request concerning early and mail-in voting by our town clerk and board of registrars.
So on the town caucus, I just want to make sure I'm correct on this statement, is that previously at the actual caucus, you could get enough signatures to have your name added. Now, it's not being done physically at the caucus, correct?
I don't know that that's changed. Let me go see if Lori's here still.
Yeah.
Yep, we need you.
Well, I could hear him.
Come answer our questions, Lori.
Yep. What was,
So at the caucus,
yep,
I believe last year we started it to where, before you could get the signatures physically at the caucus, but I think now we're asking that the signatures be signed in on paper, correct?
on the nomination papers?
Correct.
Not necessarily. I mean, papers are available if somebody wants to go that route. There still will be a caucus. If we have a quorum, we will continue the way we always do. If we don't have a quorum, then I will be handing nomination papers to everybody else and saying, here you go.
So would this effectively be, my understanding was like we had to have a town, or that was the only way?
The only way we can eliminate the caucus is a town meeting vote.
So we will still have a caucus, but we can still, if
You
people...
can always do nomination papers.
Okay, all right.
Even, with or without, you can always do nomination papers. So, is this about one of my thingies or something totally different?
No, this is what's on the agenda.
Oh.
Sign the caucus warrant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the question came in,
Yeah.
Because before I can have a caucus, I have to post a warrant.
And a request concerning early and mail-in voting for town clerk.
Yeah, and there was one other, and that was to place a vacancy caused by a failed election last year on the ballot.
Is that for planning board?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, so those were my three things. But yes, Chris, we'll have a caucus. Yes, nominations papers are available now, and they'll be available then, and you can get on the ballot either way.
Oh, great. Thank you, Lori.
Okay. Should I stay while you talk
No,
about the other things?
I think we're good.
Just in
Unless
case?
there's, okay, next is discuss and vote on MVP.
Oh, we still have to
Yeah,
vote.
so-
Yeah, you still got.
Oh, we do have to vote. Okay, all right, but Lori doesn't have to stay for that, so.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
You don't have to vote on the warrant.
So
That
I'll
just
make
needs to
a
be signed.
motion to sign the
Oh,
caucus warrant while also requesting
vote
to
on the other
put
two.
the planning board vacancy on the ballot and request, and early and mid mail-in voting per town clerk.
In-person
Board of
voting.
Registers.
Mail-in voting is mandatory, in-person voting is by vote, of the select board, so it's the
Oh, sorry.
in-person early voting.
I put that wrong, Chris, so it's
Yeah.
early,
In-person voting for
Early
the 3 days
in-person.
prior to the election.
oh, I said both, early and mail-in.
Yeah, mail-in's mandatory.
Okay.
All right, so per Lori's memo, the Board of Registrars voted to recommend to the Select Board that we conduct 3 days of in-person early voting, June 9th, 10th, and 11th, during regular business hours of the town clerk, to be held here at Town Hall. So moved. Perfect.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passes. Guess you
So we want to sign this?
No, I'm gonna run it through.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, not a problem. Chris, feel better? Everyone have a good night?
Thank you.
Okay, very neat. Discuss and vote on MVP FY26 grant application.
And of course, I didn't actually print it out for myself.
Okay, well, you can move, if you, I
No.
can move on to,
That's okay, no, so it's, well, everybody got emailed it, so I can just look it up on my email. But what this is your new authorization form. It would be for roughly $300,000 for the MVP FY26 grant application, which would be to get design and permitting for lowering the floodplain north of Covered Bridge, design and permitting for replacing the culvert on Main Poland with the streams standard crossing bridge. And actually today, I just found out we can add to this application to get some funding to help the planning board with their river corridor work. So we'll include that in there. So that's really all it was. You know what I was saying? I have them here for you to print, that's why, to sign, I mean.
so we are going to reach out to landowners who would be involved with the lowering of the floodplain.
Right, and I think I sent you all a map, those are the two, that Nick Miller put together that shows, I think it was in pink on the map, I know Chris has seen it before. It outlines all the different homeowners and also the floodplain where they're interested in lowering the floodplain. So the group had asked that the select board use the authority to ask the landowners if they were interested in participating and supporting that project. And then there was a second grant authorization which came up really quickly, which I can do now, or I can do it on my TA update.
Let's do it on the TA since this one's a vote.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to vote for the MVP fiscal year 26 grant application.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I guess, Erica, you and I live closest to those residents, so we'll probably be making some door calls.
Yeah, we're on the floodplain. Okay, vote to appoint John Pelletier, I'm probably not saying that right. John Pelletier.
Get Pelletier.
Pelletier as Franklin County Technical School rep for a term ending June 30th, 2026.
So I do need to let you know, this was a mistake on my part when we did the appointment in 2023. It was supposed to be for a 3-year term, and I had it down for a 1-year term. So this is really, John's happy to keep serving. He's been serving, and the Franklin Tech School has him down as being appointed through 2026.
Okay,
So we're
officially
just
extending
making it
him
official.
through.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I move to appoint John Pelletier as our Franklin County Technical School rep for the term ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's put this. Okay, so joint meeting with the finance committee in 20 minutes. Are we allowed to
Yeah.
commence?
Yeah.
All right. I call the Finance Committee meeting order with the Honorable Select Board. I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the February 18th Finance Committee meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, so we're reviewing highway.
Highway, highway departments, actually, it's up to you which ones you start with. There's public buildings, the highway, and then snow and ice. But there's also a request from the sustainability committee that they actually get a line item budget this year, which they're a very new committee, so they don't have one. Like open space and Concom and planning board and all that.
Oh, okay, yeah, request for new budget, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't put a number down because we don't have one. It would be something in the 170s, I think Mike said.
170s, okay.
Yeah,
Right, okay. They requested $400, that's,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So if you guys want to,
All right, let's start with 192. This is the first on the agenda. Love it. Love it already.
Good evening,
Level
everybody.
funded.
192, building maintenance, building and grounds. It's the same budget as last year. No reason to up anything at this way this year's been going.
Veronique, FY24, that can't be accurate, expended of
No,
19,367.
and she shouldn't have expended on them.
Okay.
well, it is actually accurate because I went through them, yeah, as of,
24 did not get only $19,000 spent.
I mean, that's like,
only 19. Oh, that one's wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the FY25.
no.
Yep, you know what, I didn't go back through all these spreadsheets and fix what I didn't do the last year, so I apologize. I will fix that.
She's with your committee, right? So there's no, it's the same as last year. There's no change to the budget.
Okay, we're not
So,
expecting electrical rates
With
to
the
go up.
grounds maintenance, were we kind of able to offset the higher cost by not having it mowed as often?
Actually,
Signed up.
what happened was we ended up with a different contractor that came in a lot cheaper than the last one, but unfortunately I've had concerns of how things were, I've had complaints from residents about how it was done. And so we're trying to work that out for this year's budget, this year's coming year. See, unfortunately, the mowing season is part into the year, the yearly is in two different budgets, so
Mhm.
it's difficult to plan, but we was able to work through it last year with the cost that we did. Hopefully, we can get that issue straightened out, and hopefully it's not gonna be a big impact on the budget, but I don't, all this stuff is so hard, because it's all, like electric, right now, this last month's electric bill had a huge increase from what last month was, or what it had been. At this point, I'm still confident that we're okay with what we have budgeted. Same with fuel, propane. We're adding more stuff all the time to the propane. And once that new building goes in, gets finished, and we start heating that with propane, that's gonna make probably a considerable difference in my budget, but I don't know how to account for it, so hopefully we can just if we get in trouble towards the end of the next fiscal year, we can hopefully.
So this doesn't take into account anticipated costs from heating the new highway, or the new public safety building?
No,
Okay,
because for one, I don't know when that's gonna go online.
right.
Um,
Do we think it might be in the next fiscal, like before the next fiscal year? Like,
Can't answer that.
we just don't, okay. All right, we
I
don't
mean,
know.
we're too far out right now to make that call. I mean, we are still heating it with oil right now, so, I mean, there is that difference between oil and propane that,
Although right now propane's more expensive than oil.
no,
This is the heating oil that would heat the older facility?
yes.
So, okay, and so you're gonna switch the whole thing, both buildings over to
We would,
propane?
the garage and
The
the
garage
office
and the
space.
office, yes.
So the only building that the town will be heating with oil would be the association building.
Mhm.
And they're talking of maybe converting to propane on that too.
Any further questions?
No.
Thank you. Let's hope your forecast for energy prices is accurate. You have a new career if you are. We have a new career as an energy
Oh.
forecasting.
I don't know. Things are tough.
Uncertain, yeah.
Any questions on that?
No, no,
No,
I'm ready to
it's
move forward. Thank you,
straightforward.
thank you.
How's your highway budget down?
I would say it would be helpful to have
I
the
can
numbers
explain that.
24.
Yeah, I mean,
And as you can see, the FY '24 is wrong on this too, obviously, so I'll go
We've,
through.
yeah, we've
I
noted.
figured that.
We've had this problem repeatedly now,
Yeah.
over the last few weeks, where we don't have reliable numbers for 2024.
For '24, yeah.
And that makes it really difficult for us to view this in context.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was
all right.
going through all the 25s because
All
I
right.
didn't have the 25s up to date,
Oh.
so I forgot to go back and do all the.
I think Mike Coachella just sent out the expenditures, right, earlier today or yesterday? it was?
Yes, through February 28th. I wasn't going to go through and update all
Oh,
these
sure, that's too
again and
close.
again and again.
No,
I figured
but
we
the
had half a
24s are
year.
done, right? They're completely
The
done.
24s are no problem for me to get in there
Okay.
and get, yeah, it's just a matter of.
So as far as my budgets go for fiscal year '24, they were relatively right on the money.
Okay.
I mean, there was a few dollars.
Yeah,
under,
yeah.
But
Thank you.
pretty close to being for all my budgets, except for,
What was the reason?
even snow and ice was.
So you've gone down,
What?
where's the
Updated.
$10,000 savings? I'm
Where's
trying to
what?
see.
Well, if you, all right, first off, let's start with payroll.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a huge increase in my payroll request.
422.
Because you have more employees now.
Because the select board raised the hourly rate
Right.
of the CDL drivers
Right.
with the anticipation of being able to hire the fourth person for next fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that raised that up. And actually, that number is wrong. Nope, she corrected it, okay.
320.
320.
Yeah.
Because we had also another increase because of a mechanic position that got increased. So when I originally did my budget, that wasn't in there. So, yes, my salary budget is up considerable. As far as my operating budget, I raised my rentals 10 grand, so up to 25,000. Because of the equipment, we're anticipating having to rent to take up some of the slack with some of the equipment. If
Like what specific pieces do you think you're gonna have to
my
rent?
loaders, my loaders are aging, the grader, I know we're probably gonna end up having to rent more. I have the last couple of years rented when I can find it. But we got a lot of work to do with storm damage that we're trying to, we do have a chunk of money in there, which if you look at contracted services, that's staying the same. That's for things like when we do any kind of paving or reclaiming that we do outside of Chapter 90, line painting, guardrail repairs and stuff like that. Comes out of contracted services. Now materials, last year, this year it's 150,000. I've downed it to 75,000, only because we still are working off the flood money.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of that money is being used for what we would, for repairing our roads.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to confidently be able to lower that dollar amount, not having an effect on our budget, on what we get done. Plus, we also have, we have been a Mass Works grant, so there's a lot of work that we're gonna be doing with that money, which would have come out of my operating budget if we hadn't. So I lowered that down to what I feel is a comfortable number, but that's, number is gonna go back up in coming years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are we tracking now everything that's against the flood money?
yes.
Are there any materials that we've like pre-purchased that we just kind of like stockpiled with that money? Or you're just like, because that's such a significant decrease, is that just?
Because 90% of what gets spent is on gravel, and because of the flood money, being that we have to rebuild our dirt roads,
Okay.
that's
Right.
significant there. But then also materials covers like catch basins and things like that, repairs that we have to do to them kind of things, and other kind of materials along the
So
way.
it's not that we've like stockpiled materials, we just know that like we can pay for materials out of another source of
Correct,
funds? Okay.
yes.
Is the, I'm gonna go back to the flood money. Is that something that Mike reports to us on monthly?
What gets spent, yes.
Does it show up
That's
under
in
the
his-
expense? Is there a separate account?
So it wouldn't be part of the operating budget, so.
No, it's not part of, no,
It's a special account.
A special
So it's a
account?
special revenue account or something that,
Yes.
in those series of reports which Michael
He does,
sends out?
yes, every,
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
then.
okay. And this is not just materials, it's also payroll, some
Payroll,
salary?
yeah. payroll, rentals, all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
that we.
Yeah.
Fuel staying the same, office supplies same, other supplies, which is like tools and supplies for the shop, it's staying the same. Maintenance and repairs staying the same, uniforms staying the same. The only other increase was in new equipment, and that's only because cost of stuff just keeps going up, for small items.
Well, your bottom line has gone down, but it would be really helpful, Veronique, to see like the actual FY25, which I guess we don't know yet
We
because
don't know
we're not
yet,
done,
yeah.
but I don't know, like.
That is accurate as of December 31st, FY '25. It's the FY '24 that I have, oops, sorry, it's awkward to move these things around a lot. This is the one that isn't up to date.
Yeah, it would just be, that would be helpful, I think, to see a closer approximation of what we.
So Ron, under the salary, the 85,000, the
You can
increase
see all
from
the previous
79
years
to
are pretty
85,
close.
Oh, yeah,
what is that?
that's my salary that I included 100 hours of overtime into my salary to cover for winter time. Kind of,
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's obviously for next winter.
yes.
So,
Oh, I mean, this has been going round and round.
This winter's been a little long too.
So your overtime is part of that salary line, not the,
Rather than getting paid an
overtime.
hourly rate, you've asked for a salary increase to,
Okay, this is,
yeah, well, the idea was a stipend, correct, for winter overtime hours.
oh, is that what this site,
Which would-
Well,
stipend of
no, that's what
6,000?
she's,
Oh, well,
what is
okay.
this stipend?
It's over here in column B.
Yeah.
It says stipend of 6,000 for winter work.
That, yeah, that's what I put in, it's completely.
But then down
She
on
wa-
line 25, you have
Which-
a
which
79,000
account
current
has
salary
snow
plus
and ice?
100 hours.
so here's what the difference is.
Yeah, so it's
I-
a $6,000.
No, well, I put that in my budget.
Oh, yeah,
She put the stipend in
Okay.
on the side, so
I
it's
don't see
her
stipend on
versus.
here.
yeah.
I mean, and
okay.
I, honestly, I don't really,
Okay, we're just trying to, you know,
No, I know, I
understand
know.
everything that's
I
on here.
understand,
Yeah.
I understand
It's in the notes here.
completely.
Oh,
Yeah, it kind of made more sense to me since it was for winter work that it would actually go on the snow and ice budget rather than, but that's completely up to the
However,
board and finance, yeah.
Okay, but you put it on this budget for now.
No, I did not.
I
Okay,
did.
all right, okay.
She suggested doing a stipend for the winter and ice.
Okay, so you don't have that extra 6,000 on the snow and ice budget?
No, we do.
No, it's not on the.
No, you don't
snow.
have it on the snow and ice.
No,
Yeah.
not the snow and
No,
ice,
no,
we're on
snow and
highway, yeah.
Right, no, yeah, no, I'm saying,
Yes,
so it would be like one place or the other, it's not gonna
Right.
be right, okay, all right,
Right, but that's a discussion for you all to,
right.
Does this, you have a contract, right? You
No.
don't, you do straight salary?
That's it.
Okay.
So stipend would be you don't take out withholdings as opposed to payroll does,
No,
right?
they take out
You do.
withholdings.
So,
Yeah. I'm
so it's
just-
somewhat semantics then in terms of it's overtime pay or a stipend, correct?
semantics, not really, because our town council has said we can't pay overtime for exempt positions.
Yes, yeah,
All
that
right.
makes sense, but you could have a contract with Ron that said his salary included his, up to 100 hours of,
yeah.
Well, if
time
we had a
beyond his normal
contract, but
hours.
We don't,
There
We
isn't
don't
a
have a
contract
contract.
right
You don't have a
now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
you
You could
do
have a
that.
contract, because
Mhm.
otherwise, if you just throw it on salary, it's the base pay of Ron,
Yeah.
and then the next person that comes after Ron and all that, right?
Yeah.
So it just becomes part, it's not codified anywhere that this is also to include this
Yeah.
extra time for snow removal or winter plowing.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's why I had suggested a
Yeah.
stipend instead, because we don't have a contract.
Yeah.
So-
And a lot of towns don't have a contract with their highway supervisors. It's typically they don't.
Part of the job.
It's more the exception than the rule.
Also true.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any further questions, comments on the operating budget number 422 highway?
I didn't understand the materials is cut 50% for 26.
Yeah, because of a grant. There was a grant that, from
Okay.
snow remediation there, you still have access to that.
That's a state grant.
So
Yes.
John, just to let you know, I just went through the ones that Mike just sent us today, the
Yeah.
220, and it's Special Revenue Fund 475, 2023 flood emergency expenses.
Okay.
Where he has everything laid out.
Yeah, I'm not getting those, I don't think.
Oh,
I used to get them, but
Okay, I'll
I
make
have
sure.
not, I'm not getting them from Mike anymore.
Okay.
Mike sent them out, that was sent out last week. Today, Mike sent out the regular expenditures.
No, it has the special revenue.
Oh, it does too?
today. Yeah, that he sent out today. So
Nice.
I'll make sure that Mike has
Yeah,
you
I'm
on
gonna add
that.
you to the distribution list again.
Yes, yes. Sorry about
It's
that.
fun reading.
Yeah. But when you have a question. you'll
Oh,
find
yeah, it's good to
answers.
have. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the details are there.
I'd just like some clarification on the equipment. So what's the line for new equipment? What does that entail?
That is, we do attachments, chainsaws, any of our small equipment, anything like that. It's,
And then the rentals, because I'm asking because, you know, I'm on the capital improvement also, but, you know, we've done a lot of purchases recently. One being a loader. I know a loader's needed, a tractor's needed, excavators needed. I would assume that it's just the frequency of use because like you said, the repairs, all the immense amount of repairs that are being done because of the damage. Is that correct?
The damage,
From all the flooding and, you know, still working
oh,
off
yeah,
that.
yeah, but yeah, well, a lot of that because the equipment has been used a lot more than what we would have been. I mean, plus, once we get a full staff, things are actually gonna be, used more too. So, but the rental part of it is like, the new loader you're just talking about is just a small loader, the compact loader that took the place of our skid steer loader. But we still have 2 large loaders that are very important to what we do. And we're having issues we have this winter. And if we go down if one of them goes down, then we have to have some way of continuing our operations, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the replacements we're looking at on any warrant are those. Let me first say, I know the grader is an issue, obviously. The grader needs to be rented for now. But outside of that, I just want to make sure the equipment that we're having to rent, if there's that equipment that's in-house and the reason we need to rent it are one of the 4 pieces we're asking for coming up.
One of them, yes.
Okay.
I'm not anticipating, well, I shouldn't say, because like our little Kubota tractor, which is one of the items that we're looking to replace this year. It's a 2019. Has 1,200 hours on it, which doesn't seem like a lot to probably a lot of people, but the way we use it, how it's used is used very hard all the time. And right now, this last snowstorm with the snowblower it has an issue with the hydraulics, which is one of the reasons why I'd like to replace sooner than later because it makes it difficult to get things done. I've already spent 3 days this last weekend trying to get the sidewalks clean, but some of it's because the machine's not doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So I have to work with that it's not like I could stop and have the machine sent to the repair shop to figure out what's wrong with it, because nothing's getting done in the meantime. That's some of the reason why replacing them in a timely manner here makes all kinds of sense. And it's actually probably cheaper because of what we get back in return for, because it's not that old of a machine, but it's valuable for us to have something that functions the way it's supposed to all the time. But yes, the big loader, one of them is I've asked to replace. It is 10 years old, has 5,000 hours on it. And I'm anticipating having more trouble with it than we've already had this winter. And if that happens, then I'm gonna have to rent one to take its place. So I figured that into my budget. I don't know what's gonna happen with replacements.
Do we have a replacement schedule for all of the capital equipment?
I did, but I don't know how that's been going.
I'm sorry, was that question for me?
Yes.
Well, you're the rep for the, capital committee, so.
Roy's there too.
Oh, yeah, Roy's here too. Roy, you're right next to me. Do we have a schedule for capital equipment replacement?
Yeah. But not so much for this little stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or like chainsaws, like small.
Well, I don't
ones
think that's
that-
I don't think that he was talking about the
No.
sidewalk plow.
Right, yeah, like the
Kubota.
loader's one thing, but I mean,
Yeah,
is there
I
like
do,
a,
but
is there
it's-
a dollar threshold for what
And
you're
he's talking
trying
about the
to-
big loader, which is 10 years old.
Yeah.
It hasn't been followed because whenever the budget is deemed to be potentially too great, it's an easy thing to reduce the budget and just push it down, kick the can down the road, if you will. Of course, it may up the repair line item, of the actual expenditure. But, John, this is this is not a problem that has gone unnoticed, or there have been many attempts to try and deal with it, but it's one of those items that I think, in retrospect, it's always going to be like that. You're never going to be following this thing to the letter because things come up, state advises that the money's just not coming in, we have to make adjustments, and that's just how it is. But there is,
I mean, we have year to replace dates based on, what Ron provided. But, it's whatever passes a warrant at the same time, that's what's the town vote's gonna dictate, if a replacement can happen. We do have dates. After this year, the next thing I see needing replaced is the John Deere tractor in 2028. So we would have at least 1 year lull, maybe. But yeah, in that tracker I filled out, there are dates on there. There's a column saying year to replace, and it has dates in there.
All right, well, also this budget has decreased by $10,000 from the previous year, so. like,
But it won't be this way next year.
Right, but
To be honest with you right now, this is only because of the money that we have gotten from the state that is allowing this to happen.
so Veronique, what is this line that's under new equipment that's got nothing attached to it?
Sorry. It's total expenses, so it's, it's
Oh,
broken
okay.
out salaries,
All right,
expenses,
okay.
and then the
So I
total.
just didn't.
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
you just- okay.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Rough year for snow and ice.
Just submitting a level funded budget for that. I guess some would depend a little bit on whether the stipend is included in this dollar amount.
So, refresh my memory how this works. We're supposed to, the state will reimburse us for anything that we spent over our budget?
No. This, I'm sorry, we still have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But this is the only budget that we are actually allowed to go into a deficit because it's so
Oh, okay.
unpredictable what is.
So we can
going on.
overspend, but we have to make up the difference.
We can
That's correct.
overspend. And the other thing that I've been told is that you really don't want to put in too big a budget because you can't go backwards.
Right, you can't, you're
Yeah.
obligated for the following year to put the same amount.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
the
If you
same
go
amount.
backwards, then you can't overspend.
But if
it.
you overspend,
You
does
still-
that affect the budget for next year?
No.
It doesn't. So,
Yeah,
so
because
you're.
that's not what you budgeted.
You're incentivized to keep the budget as small as possible and then overspend. So you're not forced to budget more than you need to in
It's
subsequent
better
years.
off not to over budget.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better off not to overspend your budget.
Yeah,
Because that makes a hardship for the town.
Yeah,
right, because now you've allocated these funds that may or may not be used.
has to come from
And
levy.
then they go into
appropriate.
free cash if they don't get used.
No,
Does it
it's
come
the
from
other way though.
Reserve fund?
If we overspend, then we gotta find where the town's gonna find the money to
Well,
make.
that's also true, right, yeah. if
So
we
you
overspend.
try to do as much, as close to balance.
Yeah, it would have to come from levy and appropriate.
No, but
Okay.
it's already done for the current year. Ernie, so if it's overspent, and how is it balanced out at the end of the fiscal year?
We haven't done it yet, but my guess would be you're gonna know by town meeting
Yeah,
whether you
Yeah.
expend, unless we have a June snowstorm. But you could do a line item, right, to,
You could do, yes,
I mean,
at town
sorry,
meeting.
a warrant.
A lot of towns,
article.
like when they overspend, they do a special town meeting
yeah,
to, pay for that
That's
over,
it.
Okay,
but it comes from property taxes, pretty much.
yeah, okay.
or somewheres. I mean,
Yeah.
it could come from any source.
Mhm.
But it would be a
Private
warrant
donation.
article of some kind.
What's that?
Private donations.
Yeah.
Can it cover in the stabilization fund?
Could if the town votes.
If the
to
town
spend
votes.
it.
Two-thirds
I
vote.
guess it could.
Yeah.
That's generally frowned upon, right? 'Cause it's an
Well-
operating budget item, you shouldn't use stabilization funds, but I guess you could. Maybe you can borrow against it temporarily and replace it.
Well, I
replenish it.
just confused as to how it gets, you're in the fiscal year, you overspend in the fiscal year. How do you balance it
Yeah.
in the fiscal year, not from the next fiscal year?
Well, because you could, some towns don't like to do it, but they attach to the following fiscal year, that expense.
Okay,
I mean,
but I'm
that's
saying you could
something
have a
we could put
special
on-
town meeting, you know, in.
No, it has to be done at town meeting to do that.
Right,
Yeah.
but
So it's
you
something we
still.
could put on the town meeting warrant, just
Right.
like to
Correct.
pay it forward.
Because ours is so
Right,
late.
Every
okay.
year, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's the following year it get zeroed out,
Yeah, or
assumedly.
free cash. or-
yeah, I guess we could also temporarily
We've
float
never
it.
done that.
Not since I've been here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
we haven't
it
had
could
an
be the same
issue.
fiscal
I
year,
haven't.
Yeah.
because let's say we know by April 20th, and somehow it makes it into the warrant as a warrant article. We're gonna vote on it, if it were this year, June 7th.
Yeah.
So it would still be in our fiscal year,
Yes,
that we zero out the books.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we have to.
No, that wouldn't work, because unless it came from a source that was already, the town already had the
Yeah.
money, because you're asking for fiscal year 25 or 26 money to be spent. They can't spend it before the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. No, but a special warrant article you can use immediately.
It has to come from somewhere.
Right, but if it came from free cash.
Yes, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A source that you, the
The
town
source, it
already
depends on the
has.
source,
Yeah, in
yeah.
other words, that money's already been expended.
So is that, so we could set up like a special revenue fund just to put like sock money away for this? I mean, if, like,
I'd have to ask Mike, I don't know. I don't know of any towns that do
I
that.
don't, it
it's
wouldn't
not,
be.
okay, no,
No.
that, okay.
We've,
I just-
since I've been here, we've never overexpended the
Yeah.
budget.
Could be a significant source of free cash.
Oh, well, this is funded temporarily, but it comes from levy and appropriate. Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, if it's not spent, right,
Yeah. Oh,
it's gonna be in the general.
so what Roy is saying is that if the snow and ice, if it is not spent, yeah, it goes to free cash.
Goes
correct, yes.
into general fund.
Right.
Free cash, yeah.
It's not free.
That's it.
We pay for it.
Yeah, it's basically levy and appropriate part of the budget.
All the free lunch.
I'll call it slush fund.
No, that's a good one.
Ron, in terms of the hourly wages for this year, are you anticipating, since you haven't really been fully staffed, right,
Correct.
this year, so you should have some overages flowing back from the town in that account line?
You mean
In
in,
highway,
FY '25.
but in highway.
In highway, yes. Sorry.
yes. On the, on my, no, not 423, 422 you're talking about?
422, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and there is probably a good chance that I'll be asking to move them funds again. I'm hoping that after this year, we can, now with our pay scale and stuff, that we
Mhm.
can have enough people to use the payroll budget.
Right.
So we're budgeted for 4 and you're at 3 right now, is that correct?
Well, we were budgeted for 4 at a much lesser rate,
Oh, okay.
and now we've raised the hourly rate,
Mhm.
and I agreed not to try to find the 4th person until
Okay,
after
so-
Okay, so 3.
Until after,
town meeting. If the-
until, oh, so we're in the
When-
new fiscal year.
Right, when this,
Right.
if
Okay.
this budget gets
Okay.
voted in,
Okay,
then I can move forward with
Yeah.
finding the 4th
yeah,
CDL person.
okay. Great.
Any further questions, comments from the Finance Committee? No? Thank you.
Did you want to,
Yeah, you wanted to have discussion, and this is about the highway department, but there was supposed to be, you wanted to mention something about DLS in your email? Department of Local Services? you
oh,
had
that,
some-
that was not necessarily for here, but yeah,
Oh.
so the DLS sent me that 5-year financial forecast. It's supposed to be a 5-year look back and 5-year, and, you know, I haven't had a chance to go through it all
Oh.
myself. But I just thought in terms of, you know, once I get my FY24 expended properly in here, it will help us with the bigger picture of this year's budget when you're looking at forecasting. So.
Oh. Is this something which is just, we don't have to submit, it's just a recommended best practice that the DLS is suggesting?
This is, yeah, something that DLS recommended that we do, and then they ended up filling in most of the information for me. So that huge
Oh.
spreadsheet I said to you, that's got like 20 tabs at the bottom,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, it's quite involved.
Right.
But that, to me, I think that's really more a finance committee, an accountant and treasurer, and, you know, looking at it and kind of
All right.
trying to say, well, will this predict at all where things are going in the future? Will it help us? Who knows?
So it's extrapolated from historic data that, like from the finance dashboard of the Department of Revenue Division of Local Services?
Yes.
All right, so it's based on a bunch of assumptions that life will continue along as it was in the past. Gotcha. Thank you.
Now, you all weren't, I'm sorry, was everybody done with the spreadsheet? Is that-
One last question, did you want to get on to sustainability?
That's what I was gonna
Okay, yeah.
ask. Is that what you were gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you all are willing for me to put that into the omnibus for next time, just to add it in. if
Yeah,
it's-
is the 400 just sort of general costs?
Right,
I
maybe,
mean,
maybe.
It's not stipends, it's not,
Right, no stipends, it
Okay.
was just like for maybe training, maybe some postage, you know, just sort of the generic advertising, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's pretty typical with, you know, Forest and Trails and a couple of the others
Yeah.
that just have
Yeah.
a nominal budget.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you, I will add that in for
Thank you.
next time.
Is that it for finance? Did we do?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
all right. Would you
Make a
like
motion to adjourn.
adjourn?
Second?
All right, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, finance committee.
You're welcome. We have a big crowd here tonight.
Well, it's a big budget.
We all passed our ethics exams too.
well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Items not anticipated, 48 hours in advance. I got nothing, Chris? All right, town.
Nothing here.
Okay. Town administrator update, Veronique, you sent that to us.
Yes, so,
Just the highlights.
just the highlights, right. Well, I kept the grant updates in there just because it seemed to me that once I put them all in there, you might want to just keep track every week of where things are at.
Yeah.
And there's a 10th one that I need to get your approval for, because I had only just found out about it. Well, actually, it only just came out. This is through U.S. Rep. McGovern's, it's potential for him to put it forward as an earmark for our community. They're very highly competitive. I think they only put forward 15. But it did occur to me when this, and it's due March 7th, it did occur to me when this came up that we could put in for a new fire pumper truck, because that's one of our biggest upcoming. So, I'm sorry, here's the hopefully I emailed that to you, Chris. I can't remember if I got that when an email or not. But, so it is highly competitive. I know this is how one of the local towns recently got their fire truck paid for. You have to put in a match, and since we already have over 300,000, we could easily do a 25% match, which is what's required for rural towns under population under 5,000. And then I asked them, well, can we put in for more than one? And we can. So I thought, well, I'll just throw in for the greater as well, because that's our second highest. There's no guarantee. We won't get both of them, and there's no guarantee we'll get anything, but I figured we should at least give it a shot. So I can have that paperwork filled out this week and get it done. So.
That sounds great, because I mean, we know that we need a new pumper, and we've been putting the money away, but if there's any way that we can offset the cost of that, that would be amazing.
I did sit down and chat with Chief Baker about this, and I actually put in a little bit more than he was. I put in 700 instead of 600, only because we only have to do a 25% match, so I figured, and that builds in a little bit of extra just in case, so. Anyway, you have the other thing I did want to mention is about the tax work-off program. One of our participants would like to switch over to working on, I think I forwarded you a number of weeks ago, signs that had been put together by the Agricultural Commission, right to farm community signs with the chicken and all, so this person would like to continue that work and just kind of see that project through to the end, because it basically got dropped when the commission disbanded sort of suddenly. So if the select board approves, what I'd like to do is have them come in and just discuss with you. There would be certain things that the board would need to decide: the size of the signs, where they'd be placed, what would actually be on the signs, because there's a number of different possibilities. So if that's good with you, then we could set up at a future meeting for her to come in and talk to you.
I'm fine with that. We'd definitely like to see a scope of work, like what exactly that, because in my mind, that was kind of already, like, the sign was designed, we just, didn't decide on what that was gonna look like, and. So I'd like to see a scope of work.
Oh, you mean for her, for
what this person is gonna do, that's gonna, provide some value to the town.
Sure. Does that work for you, Chris? I can have her come into a future meeting?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, select board member comments, concerns.
On the TA update,
Yes.
the waste management about fixing that fence. I mean, they've hit that thing how many times?
Yes. So
Like, I just don't know how I feel about them being all, I don't want a wonky fence up there just because they don't want to pay to replace it.
I apologize. That came in. I had that update before Jan then texted me to say that they're going to do that for now. They can cobble it together for now, but she's going to put it through on insurance. So I need to get a quote or two for replacement.
Okay,
So,
great, thank you.
So the fix they're
That's
gonna
all.
do is gonna be a temporary fix.
Yeah, just to
Okay,
make
yeah.
sure it's, and then when the ground is, so I have to get, I guess I have to do it. I guess I have to get a couple of quotes for replacing the fence. So thank you for bringing that up, Chris.
Yep, that's all I had, Erica.
Okay. Mail? No mail? Announcements? Anyone, announcements? Okay, next meeting, March 3rd, 2025, here and on Zoom?
Yes, but I should remind you that the Eversource poll hearing is first and then the regular meeting.
Yeah, so we do have, there's a Eversource poll hearing shortly before the March 3rd Select Board meeting. And all of that information is available on the town website. Okay, so, no extra business. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, thank you, Chris. I hope you feel
Thank
better.
you.
Yeah, feel better, get a good night's sleep.
Thanks. All right. Hope to see y'all soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.